All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call this regular city council meeting to order. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein. Schulz.
Here.
Lavallee.
Here.
Carncross.
Here.
Lancaster. Here. Gorman.
Here.
Perkins.
Present.
Luna. Here. Quorum is present, Mayor.
All right, glad we all made it. At this time, item number 3 is for public comment. Is there any audience members wish to address City Council for any item that's not on the agenda? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Ron Hutchinson. I live at 804 West Thompson Street. We've had for, probably about a year at least, I think it's 800 West Thompson. There's always parties going on. I don't mind the parties, but not with a boom, boom, boom constantly. Even during the day, he's got it on. I don't know if they own the system or what, but we live like 2 houses and it's like it's in our backyard. I've called the cops on how many times, and I don't know what they've done, but it still persists for many hours. They do turn it off when it gets late, but still during the day it's on from noon till 9 or so.
Well, Ron, I would say your recourse is to call the police during those episodes when it does happen.
Yeah, I have.
If they're still in compliance with the noise ordinance, then there's not a whole lot they can do.
It wouldn't bother me, or a lot of people, I imagine, if it didn't have all the noisy bass. The rest of it, you really can't hear. All you hear is a boom, boom, boom kind of stuff.
Right. What I would recommend is next time it happens, call the police, and I would say our command structure here understands the issue, and hopefully we'll see some action for you.
Okay, thanks.
If I may, at the admin committee meeting earlier this month, we talked about the noise ordinance and making sure that there's a standard added that says that if the noise would seem, I don't know, I don't have the right word, but basically if it would seem uncomfortable or obnoxious for a reasonable person, that then it's inappropriate.
Counselor, you care to chime in on that?
Yeah, so essentially right now the primary means under the noise ordinance is based upon actually measuring like the decibels. Essentially what was talked about at the admin committee was adding a more subjective standard to the sense that it would cause distress to a reasonable person. It would give the police authority to issue a ticket. So in your instance, it wouldn't be if the police came and the decibel level wasn't there, but the officer was of the opinion that that noise was such that it would be distressful to a reasonable person, they could still issue a citation if the people will not turn it off, presuming this body ultimately passes that. It's not in effect right now.
When you go inside, even down in the basement, you hear the boom, boom, boom. That's all you hear is the boom, 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 which is not necessary, I think.
And the standard is if it shouldn't be like that within 50 feet of wherever they're producing the noise.
Oh, well, it's way over 100 and some feet at least.
Yeah, and 100 feet if they have a permit to have the music. So thanks, Ron.
Okay.
And I just want to add that during that discussion, the police did confirm that they have the device to measure the decibels and that it is functioning, so that they can go and do random checks, in addition to whatever complaints.
So that action for that change is still residing within the administration committee because they have to approve the draft of the change of ordinance, and then that will go to city council. My guess is that'll happen next month.
Good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to address city council?
Good evening.
Dr.
Court Tafoya, 401 North Division Street. I have no boom boom to offer anyone tonight, but I do have some comments. 5 years ago, District 50 began using the hashtag Harvard Rising. Using the hashtag, we developed confidence and proudly celebrated our fantastic progress. Please note that we did not choose D50 Rising. It's Harvard Rising because we want to elevate our community. With potential growth and exciting development ahead, who could deny that Harvard Rising is happening? However, I must share some concerns that I have as the leader of the school district. At our most recent Economic Development Committee meeting, in a discussion about impact fees, some statements were made that need to be corrected and clarified. Impact fees given to a school district may support whatever aspect of facility growth is needed. Impact fees can help add classrooms, enlarge cafeterias, or do anything to create adequate learning spaces caused by enrollment surges. If the justification for slashing impact fees is that District 50 already owns property, you fail to consider adding classrooms, which is what actually will be needed. Here's a copy of the legal opinion written by our board attorney sharing those details. Let's just say this growth creates 20 more students per grade level. That's 12 classrooms at approximately $600,000 per classroom, or $7.2 million. Spaces like cafeterias, gyms, locker rooms, and libraries are not even a part of that figure. Growth, especially single-family homes, will only be possible with a firm belief from potential buyers that a school district will provide their children a quality education, including unique programs and modern buildings. People will move here for top-notch facilities where a child can graduate with a seal of biliteracy and an associate's degree. The mayor and the council may need awareness that our buildings are already crowded. We're finalizing plans to add classrooms to Jefferson School, where our 4th and 5th graders attend. Harvard High School, which just had record enrollment last year, just needed an $8 million renovation to modernize the building to meet the needs of our students. Let me also share some facts with you about our budget. We do not have a separate fund for impact fees. Prior impact fees collected long ago have been exhausted completing capital improvement projects. Fund balances are necessary to carry out our facility plans for upcoming capital projects like Jefferson. Potential impact fees ensure that builders share in the responsibility of adding to our schools, so it's not just solely absorbed by local taxpayers. And finally, let's work together to develop trust between our entities. When Alderwoman Haderlein raised the idea of collaborating with the district, it was disappointing to hear how quickly her vision of working with us was dismissed. While we understand the decision to amend the impact fees is entirely the council's decision, we hope there will be at least some dialogue with the district about the ramification of the council's decision before a vote is taken. Failure to equip the district with the resources needed to handle expected growth may temporarily help the city's budget, but seems like a short-sighted decision for the comprehensive development of our long-term community, especially for those of us who intend to live in Harvard for a long, long time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that input. And does the council have any questions for comments?
Well, I just wanted to add that when we were having that meeting and Jay and I were bringing up a couple of concerns or that we wanted to discuss, we did feel that it was important that we do include membership from the school board. So when that discussion comes back up so that we can get a little bit more information and figure out what we're going to do, we wanted to reach out and invite members to come and collaborate and discuss it with us so that way they're involved. We don't want it to just be, here's what we're going to do and that's the end of it. So we do want to involve everybody.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else wish to address council? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4, which is the Administration Committee meeting minutes from August 9th, 2023. The committee's actions solicited to approve the minutes as presented.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have a motion, a second, Haderlein and Perkins. Comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, clerk. Item number 5 is the Community and Economic Development Committee meeting minutes from August 16th, 2023. Committee's action is request to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Schulz, second by Lancaster. Any comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Schulz,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Lorena. All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 6 is the consent agenda 6A through 6L. Are there any items on the consent agenda that the City Council wishes to remove from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the consent agenda 6A through 6L as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Perkins, second by Carncross. Comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, clerk. Item number 7 is dispensed with since nothing was removed from the consent agenda. Item number 8 is a payment of the bills. Your actions request to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $1,498,990.45.
Make a motion to approve payment of the bills?
Second. Motion by Haderlein, second by Perkins. Comments, questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, clerk. Item number 9 is a fee waiver request. The Harvard Junior Tackle is a non-profit youth sports organization, and they're requesting a waiver of park fees. Your action is requested to approve or deny the request.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Perkins, second by Lancaster. Comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, Lori. Item number 10 is Healing Hearts with Hooves and Hounds. Request to use the city sidewalk. The Healing Hearts is hosting a fundraiser event on Saturday, October 7th, 2023 at Bob's Bar and Grill, located at 103 East Front Street. They request permission to use the sidewalk in front of Bob's for vendors. Your action is requested to approve or deny the request as presented.
I'll make the motion as is to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Perkins, second by Carncross. Comments, questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Perkins,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mark, you're good to go there. Item number 11 is the Administration Committee recommendation for reallocation of funds. The city budget, 11A, the city budgeted $150,000 for the replacement of a heavy-duty plow truck. Due to supply chain issues, the committee recommends that funds be reallocated from the fiscal year 23-24 to purchase the chassis only for a medium-duty plow truck in the amount of $110,000. An asphalt patch cart, $25,000. A plate compactor, $4,000. Ensuring upfit is $7,000. Staff is recommending flexibility to purchase additional essential equipment with the remaining balance. Your action is requested to approve the recommendation as presented. And I believe the admin committee kind of vetted that out, but if you have additional questions, we certainly have Public Works, Rob is here to answer questions.
What's the difference between a heavy duty and a medium duty? I mean, what's the, is it a tonnage or what is it?
Gross vehicle weight rating. So this one's going to be shy of 26,000 pounds.
And we already have, how many of those do we already have in our fleet?
We have 2 F-550s that are used, they're kind of the jack of all trade trucks. Those are on the lighter side. Those have a gross vehicle weight rating of about 16,000 pounds. So this is sort of the middle weight between the two.
And are you still going to want a heavy duty at some point?
At some point, we're going to have to move forward with the heavy-duty stuff as the replacements.
All right, because remember, Jim fought a long time for that heavy duty one, finally got it, and now you're giving it back.
The largest reason that I'm going after the medium-duty truck is right now, if we were to order a heavy-duty truck today, given all the right conditions, we wouldn't see the truck arrive at the upfitter for 18 months. Beyond that, it could be another 6 months to a year to get the truck upfit. This medium-duty chassis is one of the only ones that are available. This upfitter has 2 slots available to see a truck possibly delivered in October so that they can start upfitting it, or at least have the slot for us. This is the quickest way to replace an aging fleet, where our newest heavy-duty dump truck is 2008. So not ideal, but it's sort of the best we can get with what we've got at this point.
And Rob, what was the cost of the heavy duty?
A new heavy-duty dump truck right now, single axle, this price is 3 weeks old, is $265,000 and changing daily. So because we wouldn't have enough money to fund a complete purchase of a heavy-duty truck at all, the medium-duty truck that was available is a Cummins engine, Allison transmission, heavy-duty brakes. This might be something where it fits a middle niche for the city. One of the trucks that's used in primary plowing duties right now doesn't even have a capability to spread salt. And this will accomplish that.
Thank you.
And then the asphalt patch card, what's the capacity of that?
This is going to be a used cart, so it's whatever I can get my hands on. But so far, the specifications for the companies that I've reached out to are as big as you got. I don't care if it's ugly. So I'm shooting for a 4-ton machine. 4-ton with dumping capability, because most likely we will be using it quite frequently.
What's your pleasure, council?
I'll make a motion to approve the reallocation of the truck funds.
I'll second. Oh, I think we got it.
I have a motion from Haderlein, second from Luna. Any comments or questions here? Any further discussion?
What is the time frame on the chassis? Will you be able to
So
secure it?
right now, the chassis, they're hoping it's going to be in by October, in which they're just kind of going to sit on it because they got to get the equipment ready. And plus, part of the discussion at the administration committee was using the partial funding for this year to buy the chassis, and then putting in the budget for next year to upfit it. So after May 1st, we would pay for the rest of the truck where it would be completed. So I'm hoping to have the truck before the snow season for 24-25.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call a roll.
Alderwoman Luna?
Yes.
Haderlein?
Yes.
Schulz?
Yes.
Lavallee?
Yes.
Carncross?
Yes.
Lancaster?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 11B, the city budgeted $32,000 for cleaning and televising of sanitary sewer mains. The committee recommends that funds be allocated to purchase a push camera, jetter camera, and field tablet to conduct sewer inspection and facilitate data management in the field. Your action is requested to approve the recommendation.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Excuse me, motion by Perkins, second by Haderlein. Any comments or questions here?
I just wanted to point out that Deb checked after the meeting last week to make sure that the funds, which are ARPA funds, that they can be used, not just for the cleaning and televising that was budgeted, but for the push camera, to purchase the cameras and tablet. Yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Just for our listeners, this $32,000 was part of the ARPA funds that the city received from federal government. And the main things they can be used for is infrastructure and also Wi-Fi as it happens. So this is certainly would help us better maintain our sewer and even stormwater lines, because we would now have on-site in-house capabilities that we've been spending money hiring someone to do. It doesn't have the same capabilities as those companies, but it will certainly stretch our dollars further and give us a lot more troubleshooting capabilities than we currently have today. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Haderlein?
Yes.
Schulz?
Yes.
Lavallee?
Yes.
Carncross?
Yes.
Lancaster?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Luna?
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 12 is the Administration Committee's recommendation to amend Section 15.07.B, no parking locations. The action is requested to approve the recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance amending Section 15.07.B, no parking locations, to include both sides of Dog Dogs Way, located in our industrial park.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Perkins, second by Carncross. Any comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2023-122.
Thank you. Item number 13 is the Administration Committee recommendation, Section 25.06.B.1, Beer Garden Certificate. Your action is requested to approve the recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance amending Section 25.06.B.1, Beer Garden Certificate to allow for retail sales. Currently, the ordinance only permits you to consume, but it doesn't permit the business to sell it to you in that area.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Perkins, second by Haderlein. Any comments or questions here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Lavallee,
Yep.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2023-123.
Okay, thank you. Item number 14, Administration Committee recommendation. They've been busy this month. Surplus property declaration. Action requested to approve the recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance declaring surplus property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Carncross, second by Perkins. Comments or questions here? Lots of our old phone system is on this list. So. All right, hearing that, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yep.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2023-124.
Okay, item number 15 is the Administration Committee recommendation to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Your action is requested to approve the recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance for budget amendment and funds transfer to the Police Pension Fund. Debi, you might want to clarify what's going on with this one?
So basically, when we do the tax levy each year, we project what the police pension is going to need based on their actuarial study that they do in conjunction with their audit, which is separate from our audit. And with this last tax levy, we were in a unique situation in that part of those levy dollars had to go back to pay the bond that we took out to fund the police pension, which we did 2 years ago now. And in doing that, we were a little low on the remaining allocations that we would be sending to the police pension based on the actuarial that came out after the fact. So basically what this ordinance does is increases the amount of money we would transfer into the police pension fund for their funding purposes, not to go towards the bond, to bring us up to what the actuarial says we should be at for their recommendation. And this is for their base recommendation, not their extended recommendation. So basically to keep up with the funding. We're in good shape with the funding because of the bond we took out, and we want to just be able to keep up with that, so we should at least try to hit that mark. So this is just additional funds to transfer to that mark.
Can you clarify what percentage the base funding recommendation will fund the pension?
Right now, I believe it would be funded up to 82%,
82%.
roughly.
Okay.
That's in addition to what we've pre-funded with the bond.
In addition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that would just keep us at that mark. Based on, I should add, based on the study they've done this year, that doesn't account for any future changes in staffing and in retirees and that kind of thing. So that's why it's done every year.
Any questions here? All right, seek a motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Carncross, second by Perkins. Comments, questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries. Ordinance 2023-125.
Thank you. Item number 16 is the Community Development Committee recommendation for feasibility agreement. Your action is requested to approve the committee's recommendation that the City Council move forward with a feasibility study for the Harvard Municipal Internet Project. If you recall, this funding was set aside by the City Council. It's ARPA funds that we've received that was dedicated to improving or working on the project to improve cities' internet access. And we've kind of already been engaged with various vendors. We're at a point where we really need to conduct a feasibility study to justify moving forward with the project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion.
You want to break a record here? Or what?
Motion by Schulz, second by Lancaster, I believe.
We're going to wrestle for it.
You're right in the middle.
Any comments or questions here?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add to help, the contract that's in your packet is with FAR Technologies. Out of the three vendors that were approached, and all three came highly recommended. Vantage Point, their estimates started at 70,000 plus. Finley Engineering, which I got back earlier today, was in the 55 to 75, but more likely it was going to be 65,000 plus. And FAR came in with a solid 55,000. So that's tax title license out the door.
I have a huge problem with this. Not the feasibility study. I think we need to have one. But these guys are salesmen. They sell this stuff. This is not a feasibility study. This is just how you can get the money so you can pay for it study. I mean, we got to call this like it is. I mean, these guys are consultants, but they also sell this stuff. And I would never hire a consultant that sells. I just don't think that's a very good idea. First of all, you know, I had a boss once that said that a consultant is someone who borrows your watch and then charges you to tell you what time it is. So that's and
great analogy.
Do you have any question at all how this is going to turn out? This is going to turn out as we are going to make $1 million. I mean, you know, this is going to be profitable and so on. But I've read some actual studies where they did financial studies, and a lot of these, over 50% of these towns that have done this have gone negative cash flow. And the ones that are positive cash flow have taken over, you know, don't have a way to pay off their loans for 60 years. I mean, I've got the data and so on, and I've been reading this stuff, and it's not as pretty a picture as a salesman will sell you. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I also looked into Highland a little bit, and they have a pretty good team down there, and they've been struggling with this for a while. And I think the hiccup that they had was they tried to add TV to it, and TV is always provided by some aggregate company. And then you're in the same boat that Comcast is and everybody else, trying to fight with very large corporations over content. And they were very sorry they did that, and it's cost them dearly. And plus the quality isn't as good as actual cable, because if you've got like internet TV, you know, you get these things like I can't think of one, but Phoebe or there's like several of these.
Oh, Fubi.
Yeah.
Tubi.
Fubi. That's what you get for the TV if you do it through the Wi-Fi or the cable or fiber. I guess I should
Fiber,
say.
yes.
Yeah.
Alderman, I should state that City Council or the City Administration is not seeking to do TV for those very reasons. So.
Well, that's nice to know. I mean, but there's, but then, okay, so you don't have TV. Now our potential customers will have to have some sort of cable TV. If they want to have some sort of cable TV, they'll have to have that anyway. So they'll still
Yes, that's true.
So they'll still be doing business with the company they don't want to do business with.
Or some other, a satellite service or some other, but the city's not interested from our perspective of getting into the TV business.
So I just like to hold off just a little bit and see if we can find somebody who is definitely, doesn't have skin in the game, who is a true consultant, that is all they do, and has some financial background so that they can do some cash flow estimates and depreciation. None of that was mentioned in any of those proposals, that they would actually do a deep dive into where we would be 5, 10, 15 years from now, and whether or not we'd be, upside down with this thing, because there are a lot of them have been, and it's really cost them. It's cost them because they either had a default on their bonds, or they had to just walk away from it, which hurt their credit rating and put them in a position where they couldn't do the things they really wanted to do for the city. So I just would like to do a better search instead of, and by the way, 2 of those companies are 20 miles apart in South Dakota. And they both came from the same company. The CEOs of both those companies came from the same, company. They were buddies at another company. I shouldn't say that. I don't know that. But I just know for the same time periods, they worked at the same company. And South Dakota, I mean, no offense, but,
I've never been to South Dakota, so I can't make comment there.
I'm surprised.
But I think
Not known for internet.
the key thing here is that we, city administration firmly believes we need to do a feasibility study to ensure that it makes sense to move forward with the project. So your comments are very apropos, and certainly if you're uncomfortable with the chosen entity, then I'd recommend voting against and sending it back to find another vendor that council would agree to. I certainly believe that a feasibility study is warranted because it's the only thing that's going to really give us any kind of pro forma of, how would the system work. And so, we all want it to work, but until we have some kind of research done that's not us, I think, we may end up in those situations, and we're trying very desperately to avoid that, but still provide needed services to our community.
Do we have a deadline on when we can use this money? Does it go away at some point if we don't use it?
ARPA funds?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to have it designated by the end of 23 and 24.
Has to be committed by 2024, spent by 2025.
Correct.
Okay, so we do have time then?
You have time, yes, for the city council allocated $200K towards this project, although I think some of it was reallocated, or is it full 200 still allocated?
It's about 160.
We still have it there right now, depending on how some other things come in that we've tagged.
Right.
So the 200's still there.
And it'd be up to council at come budget time if they wish to reallocate or not. But at the moment, you have the money to do it, and you have time to find the right consultant that would you're comfortable.
Yeah, we have another year and a half essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, in a feasibility study, one of the possible outcomes is don't do it.
Indeed.
So I didn't see that in any of these proposals from these companies. It was more of, we'll get you there, don't worry. We'll get you there. And talking in platitudes and circles and so on. What was that one line that kept cropping up? It was, we're not like the other guys. We give a shit, And yeah, it's a salesman. It's this sales line, and all those other guys are bums. You need to do business with us. I think that some other interesting things, and anybody who wants to look at this study that the University of Pennsylvania did, I've got the link, and I can just send me an email, and I'll pass it on to you, or I can pass on the document for that matter.
Alderman, I recommend you send that to staffing and we can push that out to the council.
Okay, very good. And, but one of the things that came up is that they found out that, although a gigabit is very cool to have, and it's got a status symbol attached to it, and it can be a draw, nobody knows why, but it can be a draw. But most people can get by with a lot less. And even 100 megabits per second can handle 4 TVs and anything that a normal-sized family can want to do. And I looked at my system, and I just did some speed tests today just to see what it was, and it was around I think 100 megabits per second. And I got the lowest one. I think I pay $70 a month for that. But I can get 500 gigabits per second, and I can get a gigabit for an extra $40. So, that's more money than I'm sure we would charge in the system, but it's still, it is available if you're a heavy user for some reason. You can get it, and that competition thing is important. One of the things that was pointed out to me at Dan's committee was that this is like any other utility. It's like water and sewer, but it's not, because you're dealing with competition. We don't have a bunch of sewer companies competing for Harvard's business, and our customers are locked.
Yeah.
It is very easy to do a cash flow analysis with this, because you don't get to live there unless you get our service.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be the case here. This is going to be very variable. There will be real competition, and people will make a decision that they just don't need that much, and you won't get the numbers you need, and then that throws that whole thing off. So I just like to see us really dig into this. Let's do it right.
Well, and Charlie, I just want to thank you for bringing that up, because what kept going through my mind was we should be driving this with like a request for proposals. We should be reaching out to consultants or, to, tell them what is the information that we want, in the report. I mean, these guys were recommended, I believe, by Everstream, right? The companies that sent the proposals in.
They also recommended Finley, and at one
Right.
point recommended Vantage Point.
Right.
Because those
But
are
they're
three,
all providers,
those
as
are
Charlie
three,
pointed out.
respected companies that do the feasibility studies.
Right, but they're not, as Charlie pointed out, they're not independent. They're not looking at it, outside of getting the work to do that. And they, gave us, they're telling us what they're going to tell us in a feasibility study. And it seems like we should be asking whoever is going to be doing that, submitting a proposal, that we want to see what we want to see, in terms of things like, is it feasible? I mean, what's the no build option? What's the impact on franchise fees, cable franchise fees, things like that? I mean, what are all of the implications? Not telling us this is how you do it, this is how you can do it, and we'll help you do that, which I agree with Charlie, I think is what we're sort of setting ourselves up for.
I will say that you mentioned cable franchise fees. That actually came up in our budget this last year when we did the analysis on that. We looked at numbers, and cable franchise fees have been consistently dropping as is, because most customers are moving away from actual cable and going to Wi-Fi services or Verizon or T-Mobile. So that cable as an industry, as it is now, is dying. It is not growing. The other thing is that, Charlie, I appreciate what you're looking at as far as like the residential side of this too, but the other thing that we want to consider is fiber. The biggest demand on fiber right now is in business. a large company like, a data center or anything like that, they physically will not go where they don't have fiber, because no service available provides the bandwidth that they need, because we're talking hundreds of gigabit that they need, not one. So,
But see, that's where the big backbone that they put in, that Everstream put in, means we have fiber. And anybody can do what they're asking us to do. Anybody can, tap into that thing. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the map, AT&T already has.
well, what they're doing is they're building the backbone for 5G. They're not building the backbone for the end user. So
Well, who uses 5G?
every cell phone network is 5G now.
Yeah,
Everything is
I
going
know,
to 5G.
But
But
that
what I'm
is
saying
an end
is-
user, isn't it?
Well, no, the companies that provide like you can't go and just set up a 5G company. And you can't go to a place like Everstream as an end user and buy fiber.
No, I'm saying that the backbone, that cable, goes right to the AT&T office by La Rosita.
Yeah.
And what do you suppose they're going to do with it?
Well, then you'd have to buy it from AT&T.
Yes.
So, but you're not buying fiber. You're buying 5G. And you're paying whatever they want.
No, but
And you have no control over what their terms are.
They can also put that into their lines as well, or
No,
they
they
can.
can't. They would not be doing a residential fiber line straight from that.
How do you know
box.
that?
Because it wouldn't be financially feasible. You would have to, what I'm saying is they would have to go to each individual residence and do it themselves. They're never going to do that, because they would have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to run that line to a resident. They don't, the only way you see fiber going to a residence now, outside of a program like what we're looking into, is in brand new construction when they're running the fiber to the house as they build it. Because fiber can cost thousands of dollars per foot to dig up and put in.
Dan, AT&T would certainly work with a data center or a similar business that wanted fiber to their campus. They would certainly work with them to run that, and the business
If that
would-
business is,
would
I don't see that.
participate in that. So
I disagree.
yeah.
I don't see AT&T being able to make the money back running it to a campus unless that company was paying for the infrastructure to put it in, because they would have to charge them tens of thousands of dollars a month to make that money back. They just wouldn't do it. If that was the case, we would be seeing industrial parks everywhere getting fiber directly to them right from AT&T or from Verizon, and we're not seeing that.
My point was that they can get it directly from what is it?
Everstream.
Everstream. They can get it directly from them. They already do. If you look
Everstream's
at
a
those little
wholesaler.
branches off of the main, like off of 173, there's some major farms that are hooked up to it.
But what you're talking about Everstream's a wholesaler.
So Everstream's trunk line is meant for commercial businesses, that's correct, but not for residential.
No, it's meant for everything.
It is not.
It is not. Their business model does not sell to residential.
No, eventually.
No, that's
They are
According, it is possible that they could change their business model, Alderman, to accommodate residential, but their business model today says that they will not accommodate residential. They do sell to businesses, that is true.
Well, yeah, okay,
And
that's what I was saying.
if you're within a certain distance of their trunk line, you could certainly, as a
That's what I was
business,
saying.
could
Exactly.
hook up to them.
As a
So those
commercial
businesses can get hooked up.
You can if they will do it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I'm saying is the cost to do that is astronomical.
So why are we going to take that on?
Yeah, because it's the same for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, but
okay, this discussion doesn't have anything to do with feasibility study. I call the question.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay. I mean, it doesn't. I call the question. So, I mean, let's vote.
You have a motion and a second on the table. Any other comments, questions? The question has been called.
Are we rescinding the motion to see what we want?
The current motion.
We don't want to then? We're not going to rescind?
At the moment, you have a motion and a second on the
Okay,
table.
I'm just asking.
If you would like to rescind, that's up to you.
Well, I can't rescind. I didn't make the motion. I got
Yes.
beat out.
I mean, I could rescind the motion, or we could just all vote no. I mean,
Yes, all right. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Gorman.
No.
Perkins.
No.
Luna. Yes. Haderlein. No. Schulz.
I'm in a strange position of voting no to my own motion. No.
Lavallee,
No.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster.
No, I can't with, it would be better to grab it.
The motion to approve was defeated 6-2.
All right, thank you very much. Item number 17 is.
Mike,
the-
I'm sorry, can we make a motion to send this back to committee?
Certainly can.
All right, I make the motion that we send this back to committee.
And I'll second that.
Motion by Schultz, second by Lancaster to send the issue back to the Community Development Committee. Any comments, questions? Clerk, call the roll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item number 17, Community Development Committee recommendation for bulk development agreements. 17A is your actions requested to approve an agreement with Foxtail Properties to reduce the building permit fee to $4,200 per home with, and there is a typographical error here. On the agenda it says 10 homes built next year. The actual agreement is for 5.
In 1 year.
And yes, 5 in 1 year versus 10 in 2 years.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Carncross, second by Gorman. Any comments, questions here?
I didn't want to get yelled at by you again.
No, A and then B, those two separate issues. Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Perkins,
Yes.
Luna. Yes. Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
All right, item 17B is your actions requested to approve an agreement with Tamaz Zawirta, who is building 42 units, that's 21 buildings, duplexes, for a reduction in building permit fee to $12,000 per unit.
What's the, if there wasn't a reduction, what would it be?
About 17,008.
And all we removed were the impact fees, correct? For the school district, for the parks, for the,
No, actually, we took some fees out, and got down to about 12,000.
Okay, yeah.
We're, in addition, asking for the waiver on the, for this agreement, to waive those impact fees as well.
Okay.
Again, this is just on this agreement.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Carncross, second by Schultz. Any comments, questions here?
So the impact fees is still in on this 12,000 or no?
At 12,000, yes.
Okay.
And when you reduce it, that 12,000, or those impact fees are actually going, would instead go back into what the city had to cut, to just get it down to 12,000. So we're, instead of sending it off as impact fees, we're just keeping it within the city. Because we've had to cut fees like crazy to get some of these
So-
at times.
What fees?
So just to clarify then, Administrator, you're saying that the impact fees would be removed to the other taxing authorities?
Correct.
So would the school district get their,
The answer to that would be no for this project only, if approved.
well, that seems like a pretty bad faith move after the presentation we just had.
Well, I think, okay, so I received communication from Corey after our meeting, and I think they were talking about our general discussion, not about those two specific developer agreements, but our general discussion on the impact fees in general, what we should do with them. And the fact that we thought was for land only, not making an agreement with a developer, which we've already made. Essentially, it has to be approved at this point.
It has to be approved?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be approved. What I'm saying is,
No.
it's in front of us to be approved.
it
Yes,
is
thank you for
it's
clarifying my, yes,
The agreement has been agreed upon the two parties, subject to city council approval.
correct. And it's been approved by that committee.
Okay, but that's like over, can't do the math, $34,000 that the school district would not be getting. in impact fees.
Donovan, do you have the total number by chance?
$1,695 times 21, right? 21 duplexes, or by, it's,
Times 42 units.
oh, so it's 12,000, okay. No, it's 12,000 per duplex, right?
Yes,
But
12,000
the
per duplex.
1695 is per unit, so, okay, so it's over 60,000, okay.
Wait a minute, the 12,000 is per duplex, not per unit.
Okay, just so, correct. The 12,000 is per unit. Or, sorry, duplex. So if you have a duplex, you have two.
21, we're multiplying it by 21, because there's 21 duplexes.
Well, but the,
6,000 per unit for each duplex.
okay, but
So it's
then
12,000
in that
per-
6,000,
Okay.
1695 is money that would be that school district for each one of those, and the library, so none of them would be getting anything.
As a reminder, the
For
impact fee,
42, times 42.
just as a reminder, the impact fee to the fire department, or fire district would be $105, and to the library, $165.
So 4,400,
Times
the fire
42.
department won't be getting, almost 70,000 for the school district.
So Matt, you were in on the discussion of the meeting. A house that we build in Harvard that we sell for $250,000, or that would be valued at $250,000, we could sell for $250,000. In Walworth, that exact same house sells for $300,000. So the issue is, why would a developer come here and build a house when they can build the exact same house 5 miles away and make $50,000 more? The only way to spur that is to cut the fees to make it viable to make that happen. What we're trying to do is spur and make more comparable. We haven't built new homes in this community more than 1 or 2 per year for over 10 years.
I know.
Yeah, so, yeah, you know.
It's 20
I'm
years,
just,
at
yeah.
least 20.
Well,
Yeah.
but,
If I can just add in real quick, sorry.
go ahead.
The impact fees were meant for large subdivisions. This program that we're trying to do is to do the infill. We're talking about 400 lots that we're trying to get filled up before we even go for a large subdivision.
But those 400 lots are in subdivisions that were platted that were supposed to be large
Not all,
subdivisions.
not all were.
Most of them are.
Most, correct.
Most of them are. And this one is Turtle Crossing. And so now we're saying, oh, okay, enough time passed. Now we're just not going to do any impact fees. There's still impacts. There's still going to be impacts to the schools, whether it's coming at 200 units a year or 40. It's still going to be impacts. It's still going to be kids.
Yeah, but
Not all, well,
And so,
sorry,
but it's sort of, to me, it's just like, okay, so you're just, I don't know,
but
nickel and diming it.
if you agree that those duplexes would not have been built, and the guy decided to do it in Wisconsin instead, then we wouldn't collect the taxes on those houses either. And the school districts get 60% or something like that of the,
Right,
of
but
my
it's not
tax
enough
bill.
to cover the cost.
What?
The school district, whatever they're getting for each of those units, is statistically not enough to cover the cost.
Annual
that's-
property taxes would dwarf
the
whatever
cost
these
of
impact
teaching
fees
the
would be
kids?
anyway.
Yeah.
and 100% of nothing is nothing. And we need
Right.
to spur development. Without it, if we don't get homes built.
But we need to make sure that it's going to cover its own costs. I mean, development just for development's sake is not.
Impact fees on their own would never cover the cost.
That's what
It's nominal.
cancer is,
Right.
growth for growth's sake.
No,
Okay.
as Alderman Carncross is pointing out, the $1,600 is not significant compared to the taxes that they would make over time.
I mean, 1 year of property taxes, let's say, just for round numbers, let's just say property taxes on a single-family home were $10,000 for a year. Okay, I mean, there's communities where it's way higher. My in-laws pay $15,000 a year. So that divided out.
But the property tax in our community are not that high.
No, I understand
Yes.
that. I'm just
So,
using, just
to be clear.
Yeah, just to be clear, hypothetically.
Yes, it's about $5,000 to $6,000 for a
Yeah,
family. single
okay,
family.
so let's say
And
5,000.
This particular unit, if you were to take a duplex both sides, would generate approximately $6,000 a year in property tax.
Okay, so
of
you-
which about 65% of that would go to the school district.
All right, so we're talking $3,000 to $4,000. And out of the impact fees, when you take out the fire department and everything else, we're talking maybe $1,000. Okay, so we build those houses get built, they get sold. The first year of property taxes has paid twice as much, if not more, than the impact fees that would have gone in. And we got those houses built. And then that number is going to go up every year. So really all we're doing, we're taking a little, we're giving a developer an incentive off the top. We're putting a couple $1,000s in margin into his pocket per unit so that he can build these houses, and then we can use that tax base, which is going to be more beneficial for the school district, especially if there's a family that doesn't have a child in the school district that buys that property. And it will.
Chances are there'll be 2 kids per each one of those units. I mean,
Not
it's
not necessarily.
I'll send you statistics on
The
this.
average, when you do an estimate, you use an estimate of about 2.5 to 3 people per unit. So that would be 2 parents and 1 child.
To be clear here, I just want to interject. Alderman Haderlein is absolutely correct. There will be an impact to the schools. There is no doubt about that. So to argue otherwise is incorrect. There will be an impact. And there will be children that will be living in these homes, very likely. They're 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes on each side of this duplex. So there's a very good likelihood that they would have 2, maybe even 3 children over time. That's for certain. So there definitely will be impact to the school district. There'll be impact to the city overall. The question is, we are in this point in our community where the community wants to grow. There are people there's needed housing in our community, but the bridge to get there to make that happen is being stymied by the lack of comparables in our community. And the only way to get those comparables is to cut the fees to get builders to build some so that we generate some comparables, so that as that happens, we no longer need to cut impact fees. So the overall goal here is to spur development in these smaller areas, because right now the only developers that are coming into our community are very small builders, not large builders. And they're building properties of no more than 5 in a year because they're a small builder. And as a small builder, they don't have the funding that these larger builders do that could absorb those impact fees to be able to build out a large subdivision. We would like that to happen at some point in the future, but in order to get there, we need to get some comparables in our community that are at current pricing, because we really haven't built any new housing in our community for a very, very long time. So the administration's ask here is to help spur that development, is to reduce, or in this case, eliminate those impact fees for these for this project, so that we can start spurring some of that development. We have no expectation to eliminate impact fees in perpetuity. That is not our intention. Our intention is to try and spark some growth, and get some excitement, provide some additional housing that we already know our community needs. And this was, in negotiating with the builder, a sum that he was comfortable to pay and be able to make a profit. And that means that, we cut our fees pretty significantly to the point that we are right at break-even point for city services. And because of that, we are asking the city council to consider using other impact fees to make the difference. because otherwise we're likely to be in a hole from the city's perspective. Moving forward, and this will be later in the mayor's report, I do have additional ask here to explain the overall process, but in the end, you're looking to approve this particular interest of building these houses, so one specific project. It's up to you if you feel that it's overburdening the school district or not. We made the negotiating with the builder, and these were the fees that we could agree upon in order to entice him to build. So we present it to you in that way.
I'll just say I'm uncomfortable with making that decision for the school district, given the recent information that Superintendent Tafoya presented us.
Very good.
I got a question regarding the types of housing that we're building. This is all duplexes. Is there a master plan with regards to the types of housing that we are looking to build or have built going forward?
So that's set up in your zoning. So each neighborhood is zoned a certain zoning which permits certain types of housing. This particular neighborhood does permit, is R2? R4, I'm sorry, R4 that does permit duplexes. If you wanted to prohibit duplexes in this, you would need to have a changing of the zoning. We wait, where are we at?
We have a motion and a second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion here? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderwoman Luna. Yes. Haderlein.
No.
Schulz.
Yes.
Lavallee.
Yes.
Carncross.
Yes.
Lancaster.
Yes.
Gorman.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Motion approved, 7-1.
Thank you, clerk. Item number 18 is a community development recommendation for multifamily homes in an enterprise zone. The committee is recommended to advance the proposal to the city council for consideration. Your action is requested to approve the deny the request. So what is being asked here is the city is recommending adding multifamily homes to our enterprise zone agreement. Just to clarify, our current enterprise zone agreement is strictly for commercial property, and the benefits of the commercial property is that there is reduction in property taxes over an 8-year period, which starts out at 100% abatement of your property tax for 4 years, and then it increases 25% up to 100% by 8 years. The recommendation from the administration is not to do the same benefit package for multifamily housing, but rather to do it over a 4-year period, and starting at 100% the first year and then 25% reduction each year, so that after 4 years the property would be 100% on the tax rolls. This requirement would require the enterprise zone board to approve this recommendation, but before we can proceed to the enterprise zone to make that ask, this body needs to approve that.
Is there any plans on how many multifamily homes we're trying to get, like apartment complexes?
So the limitations that we're suggesting here is that if you're building 6 units or less, that you would not qualify for this benefit. If you're building 7 units or more, then you would qualify.
So like a 4-story apartment building?
Would qualify.
All right. I do have a little, I guess, kind of with Lisa's thing, but this is also with property taxes for the other government bodies as well. They get reduced. Fire district is a big one that's hurting right now with money. We came and staff our thing because of money and provide the access that we need. and then reducing property taxes in the 4 years, and then you got all these more people coming up and increasing call volumes. And with, it's gonna hurt the community more on the first responder side. If you're not gonna have the taxes for that funding body to be able to pay for personnel for increased staffing.
So the property tax would be abated no differently than in a commercial entity. In this case, it would be, as the mayor indicated,
Usually over commercial, though, you don't have the people in there living. We typically go to residential houses for EMS. 90% of the calls for EMS
right.
is
but-
not commercial, so
So the property tax would only be anywhere from reduction of 50 to 100% on that first year, and then winding down. So by year 4, by year 2, you're already getting some of those taxes back.
I understand that part, but depending on, say if this gets approved and they decide to do 6 apartment complexes 5 stories high in the town, that's gonna hurt, and the school district too.
Well, if it's 6, it wouldn't qualify.
No, 6 apartment buildings,
Okay.
6, not 6 units, apartment buildings.
Now, keep in mind, this is in the enterprise zone, so the impact fees would still be there as well.
But like Dan just talked about, impact fees don't cover like as much as property taxes cover all this stuff. When we just had this argument 10 minutes ago about the difference in property taxes actually will overcome impact fees.
But again, you would be losing that property tax for the first year, and then by year 2, you're getting those back. So it's not like you're losing the property taxes indefinitely, or even on the commercial side, we're losing it for at least the full amount for 4 years. We're just asking to again, be competitive in this market.
No, I get
Trust
that,
for
but
that
I'm just, as constituents out there listening are gonna read minutes, so they understand what we are deciding for, and they are educated on this as well. Because
Alderman, you're absolutely right. So for that first year, there would be no revenue from property tax from the increase of that building, or buildings, I should say, within the first year, and then they would slowly come onto the tax roll over 4 years.
in 4 years it'd be
Yes.
100% then,
That's
but
true.
it won't be until 4 years.
That's correct.
At 100%.
If this is approved, that's correct.
Donovan, Woodstock has this program, right? This is part of their enterprise zone. Has anyone used it yet? Do you know?
The recent 18-unit building that went up on the corner of Church and 120, I don't know if they used the enterprise zone for that. I know there was other agreements with the city for that, some donation of land and maybe TIF, but I'm not 100% positive.
And it's a 4-year, right? Basically, after 4 years, they're paying 100%.
Correct. Difference with Woodstock though is that the school district
Yeah, the school district did not participate in the enterprise zone in Woodstock. So, from a building perspective, there is
Thank you.
better benefits in the city of Harvard than there is in Woodstock.
Thank you, Donovan.
One other thing to add is Marengo is already proceeding with this exact plan. So
Are they
we
in there?
would be-
Are they in already in the enterprise zone?
They're in our enterprise zone.
Okay.
So we'll be competing against both Woodstock and Marengo for housing.
But a change needs to be made to the enterprise zone?
There's no change that needs to be made. We are seeking this to make us a bit more competitive because we want to try and build workforce housing, and this would help with that.
But so allowing this, I mean, this isn't currently included
It currently is not within the
for
city of Harvard.
anybody? Oh, it's,
Within the city
it's
of Harvard.
included for Marengo and Woodstock
So
have
the
this?
city of Marengo is seeking to add this
Okay.
to theirs. The city of Woodstock, it is currently part of their
Okay.
enterprise zone benefits.
Okay.
So at the time the enterprise zone was created, Woodstock opted to go that route. We opted not.
Each municipality was had the opportunity to decide how they wanted to create the benefits for their community.
Thank you.
Sure.
But Marengo is seeing the benefit of going this route, and that's, yeah, sorry. Feeling like I'm beating a dead horse, sorry.
Clerk, where are we?
We have no motion or second yet.
All right. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
A motion by Schulz, second by Carncross. Any other comments or questions here?
I just want to add that this isn't like it takes effect immediately. This is a process that still has to go through the enterprise zone, still has to be approved. There are several steps before, and then each city has to approve it as well, since Woodstock, Marengo, and Harvard are all part of the same enterprise zone.
And the county.
And the county would have to approve it, and then it has to go all the way down to the state, for the state to approve it. So this is about a year-long process. We're just asking to start the process.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And seeing no other comments, clerk call the roll, please.
Alderwoman Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna. All ayes, motion carries.
All right, item number 19 is a Community Development Committee recommendation for naturally McHenry County membership. Annual membership cost is $10,000 plus $5,000 for software access. Your action is requested to approve the recommendation to allocate the funds as presented. I will state that the city previously was a member of Natural McHenry County through the Harvard Economic Development Corporation, which has been dissolved, and we brought those activities in-house. We're seeking to again become a member, and the biggest driver for this really is access to the software, which will give us significant analytical data about what's happening in our community and where people go and how long they spend there and all these kind of things that we currently do not have access to. There is a separate similar type of programming that we could get access outside of this, which would actually be more than the cost to join this. So there is some advantage financially to join naturally McHenry County just for the access to that data.
I'll make motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Perkins, second by Luna. Any other comments or questions here?
I have a question real quick. Is this 10, the 10 is annual, the 5 is one time, correct?
No, it would be annual.
So it's 15 annual?
It's 15.
So just, I want to make note that that's coming out of the Economic Development Fund that we created upon the dissolution of the, just for the record.
Fair enough. Thank you. That's a good point. It's not coming out of the general fund. It comes out of funding you've already allocated for economic development.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna, Haderlein. Yes. All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 20 is a Community Development Committee recommendation.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I know it's already passed, but is this something that gets renewed every year?
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll be voting on every year?
That's correct.
We're giving approval at the budget process.
Okay, and I'm assuming that in that, during that process, we will get to see whatever benefits we got the previous year?
Yes, so in fact, there's standard benefits are being part of naturally McHenry County. So for those that aren't aware, naturally McHenry County used to be Visit McHenry County, which is the state's Visitors Bureau for the County of McHenry. And actually, their mandate is to market McHenry County outside of McHenry County. That's their mandate, is to try and draw people from outside of McHenry County into McHenry County. As a member, now that you have approved that, we get additional benefits in marketing Harvard outside of McHenry County, and of course then access to this data. And it is an annual membership that the city was a member previously through the Harvard Economic Development Corporation. So does that answer your questions?
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Mike,
Yes.
could you just maybe share some of the data that you shared at the committee meeting?
I'll ask our economic development superintendent to do so. Can we get him a microphone?
I'm as excited about the software as Rob is about an asphalt patching card. Thank you for this opportunity to.
This is your
use
asphalt
this.
patching card, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah. Won't get as dirty, though. So the software is similar to what I used in my previous community that I served. It allows us to look at foot traffic for any place, destination, event like Milk Days. We can see where people are coming from, where they're going, what their household income level is, so on and so forth, how much time they spent on the property. And, for Parks and Recreation, this could help them go after some sponsors. If we were to show that our event, had 6,000 people that came from all over McHenry County, what have you, it could really help solidify some of those sponsorship deals with actual data rather than guessing. And the guessing part is one thing that I think municipalities do a lot when they're trying to figure out how many people attended their Christmas event or what have you. This will help us get an accurate number, and it's 98% accurate based off the data that we can get. In some cases, on the economic development side, we can use this to compare foot traffic to other locations in other municipalities. So I've used this to attract a retailer to a downtown strip plaza, and comparing the numbers to the other town that they were looking at, the strip plaza that we had in town, saw a lot more foot traffic, 30% more than the other town, so that allowed us to land this business. Only works if the numbers work in our favor, but so those are just some of the ideas. And it can also provide traffic counts and things like that. So it's a robust system. Another thing is based off of your data that we give up for free on our phones, and the census data, you can see how businesses' customers like to receive their advertising. So I was working with a business in my last place. They primarily did radio advertising because he had connections with some radio outfits. And going through his analytics for his customers, a small percentage of his customer base actually listened to the radio. The majority of it was online or social media. So he switched gears and his numbers went up. And we were able to verify that his numbers went up by looking at the analytics for his business. So it's going to help in a lot of ways, I think, across a lot of departments as well.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Donavan. Item number 20 is the Community Development Committee recommendation for inducement resolution. Your action is requested to approve the committee's recommendation to adopt the resolution to induce redevelopment of property at 2001 North Division Street, formerly known as the Motorola property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Schulz, second by Carncross. Are there any questions here? This is this inducement. What this does is it allows the property there that's being occupied by USMG to be able to start tracking all their expenses for anything that they have done in prelude to the possibility of approving a TIF district for the site. That would then allow them, once you have this inducement, they can track those expenses and then actually retroactively get reimbursed for them if the TIF is ultimately approved.
I just wanted to add to that too. I apologize, Mayor. That's eligible expenses, not any expenses eligible.
So what determines what expenses are eligible after the fact?
So something like, and if you recall at the meeting, if because of the projected traffic flow, it requires a traffic light, that would be an eligible expense. If they had to, in other TIF type situations, if they had to acquire land as part of their development, that would be an eligible expense. It's improvement.
And it would only be going forward from now, not retroactive.
That's correct. Anything that they've done prior to this would not be eligible. Do we have a motion on
Yes,
this?
we do.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call a roll.
Alderman Lavallee,
Yes.
Carncross,
Yes.
Lancaster,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Luna,
Yes.
Haderlein,
Yes.
Schulz.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
All right, thank you. We got through almost all the business now. All right, item number 21 is a scheduled wastewater treatment plant tour. The plant is essentially done. I think there's still a bit of punch list left, but essentially, we'd like to schedule a tour for city council.
Thought we had a date.
Yeah, because I got an email that said yes or no if you can go to the event.
I can't go then, just.
And you're correct. There has already been an invite out there for January 6th. This was just, again, just let
September.
everybody know, or sorry, did I say
January?
Wow. You can go there and
Bring your coat.
September 6th.
What time?
For council, we scheduled 6 o'clock. But earlier in the day, we're going to have a department head meeting at the facility where the department heads will also take a tour. So you're welcome to show up then as well. And then at 1 o'clock, we actually invited the local news to go and take a tour as well.
Wonderful.
We're trying to show off what we have.
Thank you.
Department head meetings at 8:30 in the morning, so if you're interested. That would
Oh,
be-
sorry. Correct. Thank you, Mayor. The department head meeting is at 8:30. The newspapers are showing up at 1 o'clock, and then for the council, it's at 6. And then the general public can show up at that point as well. And if none of those times work, you can always call the Public Utilities Department and talk to Jim.
Okay, so that's been scheduled, thank you. Item number 22, City Administrator Leone is requesting a call to call Transportation Committee meeting.
And this was actually meant to be more of a note, because at the end of towards the end of the meeting, we normally ask or determine times. So this was just meant to be a note.
That's fine. We can do it now. And I could also read what's on your suggested agenda at this point, and if there's anything else, let me know. We have the Diggins Street school crossing, which was that request from a citizen, to look into that. EV charging station, which is, so evidently you've talked to them?
Yeah, and they've won the grant, so now.
Yeah,
they
this
want
is
to-
Environmental Defenders.
Correct.
And then the Safe Routes School Grant, which is Lou's deal, I guess, right? I haven't heard about
Yeah,
that yet.
and just so everyone's aware of what it is, it's a state grant that provides up to $250,000, or $225 to improve your sidewalks, preferably paths towards, or like higher traffic kids that are traveling on these sidewalks to the school. Correct.
That's a good idea.
That's nice.
It should be on there as well.
So what date are we doing this?
Yeah,
Wait a minute, hang on.
if you look under the 2023 sidewalk program, I believe it's B. Is it? Yeah.
Alternate options is what it says, Lou.
There was an issue,
I-
sorry.
It's hard to dig that out of it.
It's the 2023 program, because we've been calling the sidewalks, we've just been calling it by the year, and so, yeah.
Okay. Alternate
Because there's
options.
a development that came up that we have an opportunity to maybe go in a different direction and reallocate those funds for sidewalks.
Yes, and then items for future meetings, but now we can go, dates available. Admin's on the 13th, right?
Yep.
So, 12th? 14th?
I'm good either way.
I'm going to ask for the 12th, because I'd like to participate in this meeting, and I haven't been notified yet, but I believe that I'll be participating in the police department's Citizens Academy. And if you do not make at least 80% of the classes, you cannot graduate.
How do you know if you're not participating? Wouldn't they
I don't
told
know
you by
that.
now?
I'm with crossed fingers hoping that I make it.
Okay, so the 12th. Yeah, okay. 6:30?
Oh, no, that's first Tuesday, the 5th.
Okay.
Good there?
Yep.
All right.
6:30.
Yep.
All right, item number 23, we'll start with department head reports. Donavan, please.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. We're currently working with a cabinet manufacturer who's interested in moving to Harvard. They are looking at another town as well. So I'm trying to set up a meet and greet with them next week to go to their business to see what they got and just make an introduction and tell them all about Harvard. Design Coach and Canvas Company are moving into the downtown. We're scheduling a walkthrough with them next week, a tour of the now demolished space. They took out enough garbage and debris to fill up a couple 30-yard dumpsters, so they want to show us the space as a blank canvas and tell us everything that they want to do with that. Working with the developer for workforce housing, and they're coming out on September 19th to look at a couple sites. And also working with someone who's looking at a couple properties, one that we most recently rezoned to B2, to construct some greenhouses with a little retail center to have flowers and native plants for sale to the public. And that's all I have, Mayor.
And the other one is that we're in discussions with a company to come here to the industrial park. They're looking at 20 acres, $50 million value. And 50 employees to start first year, ramping up to 100 by year 3.
We're currently competing with another location in another state, so it's not a done deal.
But we did make it past the first few cuts, so it's down to us two.
All right, thank you. Jim?
Mayor? Yeah, the contractor did finish up the punch list today. They will be off-site as of the end of the week, so they're done.
They're done, all right, very good.
It's all ready to go, so we do have a few things that need to be taken care of with some equipment failure, so we will still be in contact with them on all that, but other than that, we are up and running.
Any update on Well 9?
Well 9 will be, they'll be here right after Labor Day and start install, so it probably usually takes about 3 days to install, so they should probably be pumping off hopefully that Friday of right after Labor Day. If not, probably by Monday we'll start pumping off with the new well. Once everything is pumped off, they get their data for the report. We'll start testing. It takes 2 consecutive samples. If the well passes, we'll have it back online in a couple of days. If not, we'll continue pumping until we pass.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ann?
Report submitted, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Rob?
Report is submitted. A couple notes. Air Street has kicked off. If any of you have been down there, you might have seen more paint and some barricades out there. They are saw cutting and prepping. They're setting up equipment. They're going to be using our Park Street facility for storage. Still, next week we'll be setting up pre-con meetings for the fall road program to get that online. And then other of note, in the report I mentioned this, but this is part of what's going back to the Transportation Committee, is that IDOT is taking care of all of our ADA improvements all the way through town, all the way to Autumn Glen. So we can find other things to do with it, hopefully.
We have our engineering money back?
That's a question for Gary Ross. During a meeting we were talking and this came up, and asked IDOT, and IDOT provided us the plans, and they're doing 14 south of Brink Street, out of town. They have that one drawn up and ready to go for a fall letting, spring construction, and then everything north of 5 Points will be spring letting, fall construction. So hopefully by the fall of next year, all the ADA improvements will be made on 14 in its entirety, basically going through town. So That's all.
Hence the reason to meet again on sidewalk, because that significantly impacts the sidewalk program that you had scheduled for division. And if the state's already doing part of it, we should pause that program until they're completed, which would reduce our costs of construction to do additional sidewalks somewhere else.
And part of the spur for that meeting was IDOT basically coming back to Gary and saying that, we're not going to make exceptions to this. We're going to hold you to the fire. And then after reaching out to IDOT, they will take their own fire.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, we were seeking to reduce the sidewalk width. Our own ordinance requires 5 feet. And we were trying to do 4.5, I believe, because of different size sidewalks already installed there. And IDOT said, no, you got to do 5 feet. And in discussion with IDOT, we came to understand that they're going to do this additional ADA compliance work, which was not known when the committee originally started this process for that sidewalk program, because it's been delayed because of IDOT. So in the end, IDOT's going to take care of part of that sidewalk. We should allow them to complete that work and postpone and move, save that money for other sidewalks. So. All right, thank you, Rob.
Rob, I just wanted to mention one thing, and that is, in all the time I've lived in Harvard, there's, every time we get a significant rain, Church Street between Jefferson and Lincoln always floods. And we had a good downpour, over 2 inches, I think it was. And for the first time since I've lived here, nothing. Thank you very much. Whatever you did worked.
That backhoe machine is a hell of a tool. So we had it out and working, and we're doing some sanitary now. And thank you for the city council for approving that.
All right, thank you. Ryan?
Report is submitted, Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Chief?
I'm not going to steal his thunder.
All right, Chief.
Obviously, Lou spoiled the thing. Our Citizens Police Academy will be starting September 7th. I don't know about his approval yet, but you do have to make 80% of them with the mandatory orientation the first day. The only other thing I have is our recruit officer Anthony Viapondo graduates from the Decatur Police Academy on Friday, so myself and the deputy chief will be down there all day into the evening with that nice drive.
When's his first day on the beat?
He'll have Saturday off and then start Sunday morning.
Sunday morning,
Yes.
all right. Right.
Is it Thursday or
This
Friday that he graduates?
Friday.
Okay.
All right, well, please take appropriate photos so we can share that. All right. Committee reports. Dan?
We've got an agenda for community development meeting for next month, our preliminary agenda. If we can get any more information on the feasibility study, I'd like to try to get that on there if we possibly can, so that we can get that back on the city council's docket. I guess, Jay, what would work for you? I mean, is there like a day of the week? That
Just throw a date out there.
All right.
Thursdays don't work for me.
Okay. Well, Thursdays.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I got leave.
Right. Lori and Rosa, do you guys have days of the week that don't work for you?
Thursdays don't work for me either.
Okay, so.
I'll
wow,
go with
double.
Thursdays don't work.
Okay, yeah. Clearly Thursdays do not work. All right. Would the 12th work?
You have Transportation Committee meeting on
I'm
12th.
sorry, you guys had 12th. All right. Admin's on the 13th.
The next week then.
Would the 18th and the 19th work?
18th is Parks.
19th would
19th would have to be 19th or 20th.
See, you got yourself this time.
I recommend the 20th. The Parks Foundation meets on the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you, Mike. Thanks.
If we do it on the 20th, would any motions pass, or any recommendations pass? Would that be enough time to get it onto the
City Council
agenda? Yeah. Okay.
That's how long your meeting is.
She's a champ.
So, yeah, yeah, true. All right, then let's do the 20th then, and we'll do it at 6:30 if that works.
Got it. Thank you.
So,
What time was that, Alderman?
6:30.
6:30, okay, thank you. So make sure it's in my calendar. All right, anything else?
Nothing further.
John?
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Jay?
I want to thank Ryan for the pool this summer. I thought it ran really, really smooth. Also, thanks to Jim, finally getting this project done. Holy cow, I can't wait to see it. I remember touring the old facility, and it was quite a trip. I couldn't believe we're actually operating that, so looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lisa?
Yeah, just, Jim, I'll have to get in touch with you to set up a private tour since I'll be out of town that week. But I did just want to bring up something to folks' attention in relation to libraries in general. Both the Crystal Lake and Algonquin libraries recently had acts of vandalism where an individual, and it appears that it was the same individual at both libraries, went in and vandalized dozens, if not over 100, books and other publications related to gender issues and LGBTQ. In Crystal Lake, I think it was all sort of reading levels, and in Algonquin, it was the middle school level and adult section. And so I heard about this from a good friend who works at the Algonquin Library, and I did let our library staff know that this is happening, and it's happened in 2 local libraries, and so just for them to be alert. In Algonquin, it was found accidentally when a staff person was reshelving books and noticed a book was out of place, and checked and found that the book that was out of place had the whole big section of the front of the book scribbled out. So, anyway, just, you never know.
Well, it's unfortunate. Let's hope that doesn't happen here. Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, just confirming, admin committee is on the 3rd.
Yay.
Jeez. And backyard chicken.
Rosa, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, Matt, you have anything tonight?
Nothing further, Mayor.
Charlie?
Nothing.
Nothing? Lori?
All good.
Nothing, all right. Treasurer's report.
Actually, I have several things to review tonight, and, no, I'm kidding. Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Ooh.
I just want to see what kind of looks I'd get. Jay, that was
Really?
good.
What is it?
Really?
I'll throw my pen at you.
Attorney's report.
No report, Mayor.
Administrator's report.
So, a couple of things. This also goes along with the Diggins Library. Next month, for all of our listeners out there and staff members, the library is doing a library card sign-up push. I am now a member of or have a nice library card. Donavan joined me on that. In early part of September, we've been talking with a film crew for TLC. They'll be shooting an episode here in Harvard. There's a reminder to the council that the strategic visioning for council will be on October 27th and 28th. We also have a busy busy month coming up in that we have McHenry County Council of Government will be at the Star Line on September 27th. The time has not yet been posted on that. The McHenry County Council of Mayors, which is the first time in a while that they've been here, will be here September 22nd in this room at 9 a.m. Congressman LaHood will be having a representative come here and use one of our first floor offices, spaced out for a second there, to be on September 19th from 10 till noon. And they'll be giving us, they're actually sending out a letter to all our residents to let them know if you have issues you want to bring up, that'd be a good time to do it. As of this morning, I finally got word back from the Health and Human Services, the representative in this area, that they are going to, we're working on a date to have a representative use that same office, hopefully sometime this month, but it'll probably be in October at this point, to discuss with our residents that are concerned about Medicaid renewals. And in the meantime, we're working on bringing someone in, be it Congressman LaHood, be it HHS, someone, to come in and actually offer some assistance on helping those citizens here in Harvard that have questions or concerns about citizenship or passing the citizenship test. And last, as part, over the last couple of committee meetings this last month, there was a lot of questions about what we're hoping to update. We mentioned that our building codes are going to be updating, our NFPA will be updating to the most current model. We're looking at municipal codes, updating that, possibly even our zoning, or at least our zoning maps. And the other thing that we're including in there is an ADA plan, or updating that so that we have a plan going forward. With ADA, we have to be, we should be compliant, but we're not. And so that we are working on a 10-year plan to get us in compliance. And this is more because I've been answering a lot of FOIA requests this last couple of weeks. We do have, and I was surprised Ryan didn't mention this, but we have a staff outing, golf outing on September 9th. But that is for all those curious, or if you want to submit a FOIA request, the answer you'll find out is that it is personal time. It is not city business time that they're using to do this. So believe it or not, at least we all like each other enough, hopefully, to actually participate outside of regular hours.
Lou, the safe sidewalks in the transportation meeting, are we making sure the school district's invited to that meeting?
And thank you for bringing that up. So and this goes with the IGA. Corey and I confirmed a time and date for the IGA and the safe routes to school. We're going to be talking, sitting down as a group, discussing that on Monday at, I believe it's 1:30. And then we're talking about the school district's turf project. They want to bring that back up, and we're working with them on September, is it 8th? 8th, yes, it's a Friday at 2.
Yes, they requested a meeting to make sure that, meet with our city engineers and make sure that they understand everything they need to do to be compliant for their turf project. Just a quick overview on that. They were trying to get that completed this year for a number of reasons. Really, it's all about timing because they are doing that addition onto Jefferson School next year. And so to do the football field next year is going to be prohibitive because now they won't have room to store things because all the construction happening at Jefferson, which is why there was a big push to try and get it completed this year. However, they are considering or seeking to do the soccer field next year, and then likely, based on current information, they would do the football field the year after. So that's kind of the plan.
And that's artificial turf?
That's what they're looking to do, correct.
And they'll have to comply with all
Yes,
stormwater?
yes. So the point of this meeting is to make sure that they understand all the requirements to comply with regulation, stormwater permit and otherwise for their project.
That did remind me, Lou, since we're going to be discussing impact fees again at the community development meeting that's coming up this next month, can you reach out to the fire district and
library
and the library and the school board so that they can have plenty of time to have members attend if they would like? and let them know that the discussion is going to be open with that participation.
And on that, this is more professional concern. I want to apologize to the members of that committee. When we went into that meeting, we thought we were better prepared, and it was very evident we were not prepared for a lot of topics. I don't like wasting people's time, and so we will be better moving forward, better prepared moving forward.
I appreciate that. I do think that actually did spur quite a bit of discussion on what we want to see. So I don't necessarily think that was I would kind of lump that in as like the Apollo 13 phrase of successful failure. We don't always know what we don't know.
Apollo 1.
Yeah. I think the thing is we don't always know what we don't know and what we want, and then come to find out we get stuff presented to us and we want more because we didn't know that we wanted it. So I think that there's going to be some growing pains as we try to figure out, because we're also digging into stuff that hasn't been touched in many years and stuff that none of us have any background in. So I look at more as just a learning experience. So,
Well, and we'll have better data as far as communities that have and that don't have impact fees.
Yep. I just want to make sure that if we do need to move the meeting to accommodate those that do want to participate, let me know, and then we'll see what we can do. Because like I said, I definitely want to make sure that they don't feel that they're being left out of the discussion, because obviously the school board is concerned. So I just want to make sure that they know that we're making every effort to include them.
All right, thank you. Clerk's report.
Upcoming meeting dates: September 5th, the regular Planning and Zoning Commission meeting will be canceled due to a lack of agenda items. There are several wastewater treatment plant tours scheduled for September 6th. First one following the department head meeting at 8:30, which meets at 8:30. Local news at 1, and council will be at 6 p.m. Transportation Committee meeting is Tuesday, September 12th at 6:30 p.m. Administration Committee is Wednesday, September 13th at 6:30 p.m. Park Board meeting is September 18th at 6 p.m. Community and Economic Development Committee is Wednesday, the 20th at 6:30. And our next regular City Council meeting is Tuesday, September 26th at 7 p.m. And that is all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. For the mayor's report, I just wanted to reiterate some things that Lou had said. It was very evident that administration and staff were not prepared for the meeting that we just discussed. And of course, we had internal discussions about that to ensure that we are better prepared for those type of meetings. And then I also want to make a mention, I greatly appreciate Dr. Foy coming and making his presentation this evening. My understanding of the state statute concerning impact fees was not accurate. And so I was brought to my attention and actually read the statute subsequent to our meeting, so I have a better understanding of the statute. And certainly, we certainly want to employ the school district and other taxing bodies, this library and fire, in these discussions concerning impact fees. So as I kind of alluded before, we're really trying to spark some additional growth in Harvard. We know we need the housing. We see additional businesses coming into the community, which we have no housing for. There literally is no housing. And so while there is some demand, the developers and builders don't necessarily see that. And they, in order to entice them, that's why we've looked at impact fees and also cutting city fees to the bare minimum to try and spark some of this growth. In your meeting, I think we will be making some presentations about what we kind of are looking or asking for the impact fees. And to Lisa's comments, absolutely, the backfill of 400 homes would absolutely impact the school district and other taxing bodies, but those are the hardest to fill because it's not a single builder building on a big subdivision. We're trying to appeal to very small builders to build a few homes here and a few homes there. And one of the things that, as the administration, in trying to help spark that growth, And this will be part of the discussion in your committee. Our recommendations at this juncture would be that we would consider waiving impact, or I should not collecting impact fees for builds that are 5 units or less, and I'm sorry, 10 units or less, and then 11 or more units. So if a builder wants to come in and build 11 houses, absolutely they should pay the 100% impact fees. We just see that the backfilling of these current subdivisions that have all these empty lots in it, we're really struggling to find developers that are willing to build in them because the big developers don't want anything to do with it. They want their own subdivision if they build here, and the small builders don't have the resources that the big builders do. And so that is kind of our logic in our presentation of this. And we'll have more discussions during the community economic development meeting. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much, though, kind of our thought and logic of how to approach the issue. It's very clear we need increased comparables in order to really attract a lot more building outside of those backfills that we're looking to backfill. So thank you for your indulgence on that, and certainly we want to have a discussion and be collaborative about it, because we do recognize that the other entities also have their goals and needs and expenses, and while we want the community to grow, we're all going to have additional expenses to deal with that. So looking forward to those conversations. Lastly, I just want to thank all of our staff. It's been, we're near the end of summer, so thank you to our Parks Department for the pool and getting that done. And we're looking at trying to bring additional programming for our community in the next year. There's some struggles there, but we're working through some of those things, and we're looking at trying to bring some new activities to our community. Obviously, we've got a lot of interest in commercial building here, and we're slowly trying to see some of those come to fruition, and that's in no small part by having a new economic development director here who's on the ground every day to help make those things happen within our community. So we welcome that needed resource within our staffing, and I appreciate Rob coming on board and working to try and make our Public Works Department much more efficient in how they do things and how they schedule things. And I've already seen, just from my perspective, I think, areas where we're rethinking how we do things and trying to be more logical in how we do that. And I certainly appreciate it. And Alderman Gorman's comment about not having flooding is a direct result of that team working well together. So thank you very much to you and your group. Thank you to our police department. We're finally getting another officer on the beat, even though we just lost another officer to active military service. But one of the things that we're looking for this organization to consider, as Lou is trying to find ways to cut pennies and cents, to be able to find ways to seek adding another person to our police department, because right now it's still a quality life issue of work and life balance, and the fact that we've lost, when we gain an officer, we end up losing an officer, and so we've not really made a whole lot of headway there, and we'd like to try and boost that number a little bit. Plus, because of change of our shifting, we went to 4 sergeants, so we lost another patrol officer there to move up to a sergeant level. So our guys are dealing with a lot of overtime, and we want to try to eliminate some of that overtime by adding another person to the payroll, coming into the new fiscal year. So we'll be discussing that during the budgeting process as it comes. Very important, I'm going to reiterate, the McCog is coming here next month. I really hope that you will participate and come to that to that meeting. As alderpersons, when you're the host city for this meeting, we really, all the municipalities try to get as many aldermen to attend that dinner as much as possible. It's a great networking opportunity to meet other people within our community, within our county, and of course, one of the things that we've been trying to do is become more engaged with our neighbors within our county, so much so that we're putting Lou through the leadership of Greater McHenry County this year as a new enrollee, and that will allow him to gain a network within our county that he currently doesn't have, and get to meet lots of those that in the end will help our overall organization. And then lastly, I do greatly appreciate everyone's involvement from City Council into all of these committees. From my perspective, from say 3 years ago, the involvement of City Council in trying to make policies and decisions is much more collaborative than it's ever been since I've been mayor. And so I greatly appreciate your involvement. And we don't all agree on things, and we shouldn't all agree on things. That's what the point of having a council is, that everyone's perspective comes to the table, and we all vet out all of those things and come to an agreement. And so I greatly appreciate when you do come with opposing ideas, because that's how we ensure that we have considered all viewpoints. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
I approve. Motion.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Clerk, call the roll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Did you beat your record? Thank you.
Good call, Matt. All yours, Matt.